This is already built. It's built in. It's like The Exorcist. If you're going to believe in God and Jesus and so on, which do you have to believe in the devil?
Ok, muy buenas tardes, William. Bienvenido al canal, es un honor.
Buenas tardes.
Muy bien, gracias. Yo quisiera pues felicitarlo por todo el trabajo que has hecho. Antes de las preguntas quiero darte un fuerte aplauso porque tener a una leyenda como él vale la pena. ¡Bravo! ¡Bravo! William. Es increíble. No, la verdad es increíble. Yo quisiera darle el paso a Rubén para que pueda darle esa respuesta que tanto él quiere. Rubén.
Okay, but before the translation,
Yes.
Jhon says welcome. Okay, and let's give you an applause because it's an honor to have you here. And we will let you with Ruben. We know that Ruben had a really nice question, and he will, like us, fulfill a dream. So go ahead, Ruben.
Okay. Yes, I have only a question. Well, two questions in one question. It's the typical question about from the interviewer, but for me, as a filmmaker, I make independent movies. I always keep a lot of memories about the shooting. One day, the first day of shooting of my last movie, the camera is broke and we go run to the city to fix it. So, right. What was for you the best shoot you in which you keep better memories for a movie or a TV series?
What are my best memories? Which movie movie do I remember the most fondly? I had a lot of fun on the Shawshank Redemption. Right out of the what is it called?
Cadena perpetua, but they also call it sueños de fuga. Cadena perpetua and sueños de fuga.
Yeah. I had that movie was tremendous fun. It was just it was a beautiful shoot, and but not just that one. I've had fun on lots of movies. When I was a little boy, when I was growing up on a farm, I used to run around the barn with a BB gun. You know what a BB gun is? A little pretend gun, toy gun, and dive out of the hayloft and come up shooting and shooting the bad guys. And we would do this for hours and hours and hours and hours. And when I got to the movies, Die Hard 2 it was the same thing. It was like it was all the fun that I had as a kid, only as a grown-up now. The props were better and the costumes were better, and but it was the same kind of fun. It was the same make-believe fun. I've always loved that. I've always enjoyed it, and I found a way. I used to think like I've been rehearsing for this career my whole life before I ever even started doing it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? I mean, I've had fun on lots of them. Demon Knight was a lot of fun. I just did one with Karen Allen last summer. It's going around the circuit, the festivals now. It's a little independent movie.
Yeah.
Called A Stage of Twilight. And it was tremendous. It was tremendous fun. It was great. So I guess I still love it. I'm not finished yet.
Thanks.
Sure.
Qué raro ver la Parca frente a nosotros.
Okay, Jhon has to say it before I did my question. Yeah, Jhon said that it's really weird to see La Parca, the death of Bill and Ted talking to us, but no, You mentioned, yeah,
That was
uh,
fun. That was great. That was really fun. I mean, you have to enjoy this, or why are you doing it? You know, it's I can't take myself all that seriously. You know, I'm a good actor. The movies are great fun. Uh, death was, how do I say it? Death was like they pulled a cork out of the bottle and out came this, um, uh, the Grim Reaper. Uh, that was that. Maybe that was the most fun. I don't know. I like making people laugh too. So
I got a question about the movie that you mentioned, but I need to mix it with another because
yeah.
yes, not only about Cadena Perpetua, Shawshank Redemption. How
Okay.
do you feel because you made like I always call it like a dream marriage with the director Frank Darabont. You appear on the in the three masterpieces of him, the Shawshank Redemption, the Green Mile, and the Mist. So
Mist.
Ah,
how do you feel? And of course, do you believe that when that movie of Bill and Ted premiered, that it will become such a cult classic, such references, going back with the voice, imagining that Keanu Reeves became that big star?
no, I had no idea. It was this little. When I did Bogus Journey, the only thing they had done was Excellent Adventure, and that was successful, but it wasn't. You know, it was only a few years before that, and I don't think I'd even seen Excellent Adventure when I'm um, I'm amazed that I'm amazed that it's become this cult classic, as you say. It really makes me happy that people are still enjoying it. That they don't watch it and go, I quick, switch the channel, quick, switch the channel. You know, um, that it still makes people laugh. That they still enjoy it. Yeah, I'm. What was the other part of your question? I had no idea that they would
About
that.
the
Oh, that Stephen King,
Frank Darabont, yeah,
the Green Mile, the Mist,
and
and the Shawshank Redemption. I have another Stephen King movie called Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot so there are 4 Stephen King movies now, but it hasn't come out yet, and I think it comes out in the summer, this coming summer. But that should be great. I love Stephen King. I mean, I don't know. It would be a very different career if I hadn't started out doing, you know, joining the Stephen King Repertory Theater Company. He's a
and
wonderful
before I
writer. Yeah.
yes, and before I let my friend John do his question, it's great because not only for an IMDb, no, you appear and you do a big role on the best movie of history for many people. That is the Shawshank Redemption, and it's great that you mentioned that you feel fun because it's a sad movie. Oh, in fact, I repeated, but no more about me, John. Go ahead.
Gracias. Mira, yes, continúo.
Let's continue, Master. No,
Ah,
no,
ok.
we thought that you will say something. Sorry, sorry.
Oh.
Ok. Bueno, de sus inicios me gustaría hablar porque estamos hablando de cosas que la verdad son históricas. Yo quiero saber cuál es la anécdota que tú te has llevado siempre sobre 2 trabajos en especial, de Greg Wayendas y la de Charlie. Entonces, bueno, coméntame estos inicios tuyos.
I know that John will bring out this question because you were talking about your beginnings, and I was telling John, do the beginning question. What is the anecdote that you must remember about your earlier works, The Great Walendas and Charlie and the Great Balloon Chase? Early.
Oh my God. Uh, I didn't. The Great Walendas. Uh, Lloyd Bridges. Lloyd Bridges was the star of The Great Walendas. That was. I had no idea how to act for the camera. I had been doing theater, off Broadway and off Broadway and on Broadway. Years and years and years of acting on the stage, and I had no idea how to act for a camera. It's different, you know. It's a little smaller. It's more intimate, and I learned a lot on that shoot. There was a moment when the director, I was shooting a scene with Lloyd Bridges, and the director, Larry Ellicott, pulled me aside and he said, "Bill, come here. He's eating you alive out there. He's eating you alive. Every time." It's supposed to be a scene like this, and this is you, and this is Lloyd Bridges, and he like would turn this way so that it becomes his shot. The camera's just on him, and it's on the back of my head. And he would do it again and again. He would just like upstage you. And anyway, that was I don't know that he did that deliberately. It was probably just instinct on his part. But it took me a long time to learn to transition from the stage to movies. And the first movies were, you know, I was good. I was full of energy, but it took me a while to appreciate how internal you could make the acting, and it would still work. In fact, it would work better if you keep it, you know, the more personal and the more honest, because the camera just catches you if you're lying, if you're pretending. It just looks, you know, it just looks bad. Anyway, yeah, the first few, the Equalizer I did. What else did I do? Charlie and the Great Balloon Chase. Wow. I had no idea what I was doing. I knew I wanted to get from the theater to the movies, to TV and movies, because the theater doesn't pay very well. There's no money. It's you know, I was going broke. We had there's very little money compared to, they hire you on a TV show and it's like, oh my God, you know, I can buy clothes for my daughter. I can, you know, we can get a better apartment. We can, and so on. The money is completely different in the movies and television. I think my wife one time said, you know, you could earn a living doing this if you can transition over to making movies. So when I did Project X, which was Matthew Broderick and Helen Hunt, and Stephen Lang, it was about the chimps. It's an old movie. But that was the movie that really brought us to Los Angeles from New York. We had an apartment on the Lower East Side, and I would go away and work and come back and go away and work and come back. When I did Project X, they put us up in a hotel and we did this movie, and it was like, okay, we have to give this a try. So we moved to LA, and rented and bought 2 used cars, a used Volvo, a 5-year-old Volvo, and a 5-year-old Mazda Miata. No, Mazda. I forget what kind of Mazda it was. Anyway, but those early days were, I had more energy than I had skill. You know, I I was going off in all directions and without much control. Does that make sense?
Made all the sense, and I know Jhon got a question about Project S. Jhon,
Go.
tienes que hacer.
Sí, claro. De hecho, hay temas característicos de personajes icónicos, pero más que todo en la perspectiva de ciencia ficción científicos. Y es Proyecto X, Rocketman y Compass.
Because, of course, you got a very, very wide career, so we decided to split it on genres. And yeah, you mentioned Project S, and Jhon want to know your point of view because you had played such great scientists, or in movies like Project S, like Confess, like Rocketman. So yeah, how's your vision about the science, the sci-fi genre, the roles of the sci-fi that you had done? I think even that the crazy Green Reaper is like an sci-fi. I know he's not a crazy scientist, or is the scientist of the of the evil ones. But go ahead.
Was it how do I like doing sci-fi? Or
Yes. Talking about Project S.
Oh, yeah. I was when I was growing up, I was fascinated by the space program. We hadn't I watched those guys walk on the moon. I was a big science nerd. I liked all that stuff. And sci-fi was great. Sci-fi was exciting. It was this. I did Deep Space Nine. Finally, I did the Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and they asked me to come on and create this character for Luther Sloan from Section 31. And I was thrilled. I love that. That stuff is great fun to do. It's because they're telling stories that are supernatural, that are bigger than life. But you have to bring the real life feeling to them. So you play them straight. You play them for real. And the audience will come along with you and believe this story that you've gone to Mars, or you're on the starship. Yeah, I'm Bill and Ted, I guess, is sci-fi, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I'm very lucky that I've gotten a chance to play dramatic things and comedies and these. I guess I don't really put them in boxes like that, because my job is always the same underneath it. If I can get the audience to believe what I'm doing, they'll get sucked into the show. They get worried about the character, or they get, they'll come along for the ride, whatever the ride is. If it's terrifying, if it's horror, if it's, or if it's funny. You have to, in some ways, your job doesn't really change all that much. So I love all of those things. And I've been lucky enough to do lots of different, different styles, different, and I think, again, if I can say it, I did years and years of theater, where 8 times a week you go in front of a live audience and do it. The curtain goes up, and for 2 hours or whatever it is, it's you and your fellow actors, and that's it. And no one can yell cut, and no one can go back to the beginning and try again, or try, there's no one going to edit this, make it faster, make it better. And I think that training, just the years and years and years of theater, made it easier for me to do what I do. When I got to the movies, I couldn't unlearn what I had learned. It served me well. I don't know if that answered your question or not, but
As well, Master.
Okay, of course, and it serves you really well. I know Jhon is dying to do this next question. Jhon, hazla, tienes que hacerla.
Sí, de hecho es la que todos queremos, la que el Rubén también quiere y nosotros, y es sobre el terror. ¿Usted ha visto los cambios que ha tenido la historia del terror? De pronto puede contarnos la experiencia en este tema del terror en personajes como Devour, Unholy y no tienes Sacred. Bueno,
Y tienes que decir
I
la
heard,
verdad, a ti te encantó. A ti
I
te
heard
encantó Devour.
Unholy.
sí.
What?
Yes, master. Because, and in fact, I was telling that Jhon, you had to be truthful with William and tell you that he really loves Devour. So, about these movies, Devour, Face to Fear, nothing sacred and unholy, but mostly is how do you feel the changes in the way the storytelling in horror movies and doing these horror characters. And yes, Jhon loves Devour, so if you can tell about Devour, go
Yes.
ahead. ¿Cierto, Jhon? La amas.
Sí, I love him.
The horror movies. Yeah, then I love scare. I guess I don't enjoy watching horror movies. I'm not a big horror movie fan because I get too scared. I love doing them. They're fun to do. They're great fun to do. And again, you keep it honest, you keep it real, and you serve the movie, People will come along for the ride. You say the supernatural, and you can suck people into your story. But I get scared. I don't know. I try not to watch them. I get too, and I have trouble sleeping, and I go downstairs to go down in the basement to change a light bulb or something, and it's like, yeah. I think it's the Unholy, especially. I think there's something about the Christian mythology, the Christian religion, the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Like, you already have a Holy Ghost, this is already built. It's built in. It's like The Exorcist, if you're going to believe in God and Jesus and so on, which you do you have to believe in the devil? It's not a big jump, it's not a big stretch to say, well, what if evil spirits took you over? So they're terrifying. I'm scared shitless when in movies like that. So they're not my favorite movies to watch, but they're great fun to make. I was raised Episcopalian. Do you know what that is? You must know what that is. Not Catholic, but Episcopalian. But that's kind of, I don't know. It's almost Catholic. It's like Catholic light. But it has a lot of the same stories. It has all the same figures. It has all the same mythology around it. And so when you tap into that with people, they already believe half the story. You follow me? They've grown up from little bitty kids hearing about miracles being worked, Jesus working miracles, and so on. There's a supernatural element to it already. So it isn't really difficult to create a demon that lives in that world too. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, that's sort of how I see it. People are already primed. That kind of movie, anyway, The Exorcist and The Omen and The Unholy, where there are things that we don't understand, that miracles or supernatural. I guess I believe a little bit in the supernatural.
And before I let my friend Jhon, I don't know if it's like an inside joke. Two things. First, it's really an honor because you mentioned the Exorcist, and it's crazy for us in this channel that needs to grow. But for me, it's the best channel ever because you are here. And that we told with Pazuzu from the Exorcist, the amazing alien deeds. And now we told to you talking about the Exorcist and Unholy. And two, that's maybe because you play so well the evil characters that you get scared seeing you in the screen playing those evil guys.
I guess evil comes easy. Yeah, I don't. That's acting. That's that's the fun of acting that you get. I've been very lucky that I've gotten to be nice guys and fathers and nice people and funny people and some of the darkest people on the planet. It's nice for an actor. I don't know where all that darkness comes from. There's again, I go back to the theater. I think I was doing that in college. I would think I was doing I was playing, what if you played somebody who had all the power in the room? That's another thing about playing people that are that evil. They can see everything around them. Nice people can't. Nice people see, good people have little, their bandwidth is like this. I think playing evil people, you widen it out and you Colonel Stewart in Die Hard 2. It's hard to think of a more evil human being, but you can't play him that way. You can't play him like, twirl your mustache. You play him straight. I'm going to teach these people a lesson. I'm going to crash that plane. And the fact, the fact that he does that that's what's terrifying. That he's so casual about it, that he can do something that would terrify anyone else to do. A normal person would be way upset by that, and he has it's like a psychopath. He has no reaction at all to the pain that he's causing. Means nothing. Yeah, so it's been fun. They're playing those characters. It's a challenge because I'm not a psychopath. I'm a nice. I'm a fairly nice human, but when you're asked to play somebody that evil, that's sort of the process. You cut off you cut off the empathy. That's I think what psychopaths do. They can cause that much pain because they just don't care. They just don't care what you're feeling. Who else is going to be hurt by this? None of that enters into their minds. Oh, anyway, So you caught me. I like playing psychopaths.
One of my favorite characters to play is that character of the first episode of Tales of the Crypt. I love this episode. It's a masterpiece, and I'm watching again. I'm watching. I can't stop to watch this episode.
Wow. Well, thank you. That was actually, I almost didn't get to play that role. They wanted someone with a name. They wanted someone, a bigger star, to launch the series. They were, they were looking at John Malkovich, and I don't know who all else. I actually went in to audition for the cop at the end of the show who says, "Mr. Talbot, you have the right to remain silent." But, that was it. That was the role that I read for. And I asked Karen Ray, the casting woman, if, what's up with the role of Talbot, the executioner. And she said, "Oh, they want a big star." And I said, "Oh," and I left. And she stuck her head out the window and said, Bill, come back." And she said, "Come in on Monday." She gave me the speech, the sides, and she said, "Come back on Monday, and I'll put you on tape. We'll see what happens." So I came back on Monday, and and it worked out. But again, it goes back to the theater, because what I had to do on that Monday was a monologue, this great, big, long monologue right into the camera. And I won an Obie Award back in New York in '81 for doing a 40-minute monologue on stage. So it wasn't difficult, and it kind of came naturally. And that character just sort of appeared, this guy who likes electricity, and I got the job. But the amazing part of it was that, I did that little show. It took a week to shoot. Walter Hill directed it. Frank Darabont was one of the writers on Tales from the Crypt. And he approached me and said, "I'm writing this script called Shawshank Redemption, and I'd like you to be in it." And I think he sent me the book, not the script. Subsequently I won, I did Shawshank, and then I did The Green Mile, and then I did Mist, and Walter Hill ended up doing Trespass with me. And it was from that little moment, from that show, all of these other things arrived, it kind of changed my whole career. So I'm glad you like it. And you watch it over and over. What do you learn? What do you get from it? When you watch it, do you, as a filmmaker, what do you take away from that show?
I remember the great energy of the filmmaking. The shoots. I remember a very quickly episode. In this time, I remember the TV series was a very slow. This series is like a movie, and the episode is like a movie on 25 minutes. I don't remember 25 minutes. So I just love. It's like a short film for me. This series like a short films. It's like a short films, and I love the short films. So this filming like a movie, and for that I love this episode, and I love another episodes of this TV show. But this especially is for the direction, and the character. Talk to the screen, to the audience. To talk to character.
Right, talking directly to the audience.
Yeah, I love that. This kind of.
That was. that was a lot of that was. I mean, the director was Walter Hill, and he had done movie after movie after. He came from the movies, you know. I don't know what other TV shows he had directed, but when he directed that one, if it feels like a little movie. You're right. It has a depth, and it has pace, and it has the Ry Cooder's music, that crazy carnival music or whatever it is that Ry Cooder did with that thing. He brought all of his movie skills to this little 25-minute story, you know. And I think that's what it was. I give him all the credit in the world. He was great to work with, by the way, Walter Hill. I mean, his movies are worth studying as well. But he taught me. It was early enough in my career. He taught me a lot about working for a camera. I mean, I brought some talent to some skill to it, but like I was saying, I wasn't good. I wasn't comfortable in front of cameras yet. And that and that show and working with him went a long way.
Tiene algo más de lo que desean hablar, que con él no hay problema. Jhon,
what's it like making movies today, with all of the streaming services and Netflix and Hulu, and what do you do with movies today when you make them?
I have two movies in Amazon, in USA and UK.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you, I think no one watching the movies, no one in the world watch the movies. You know, I've received the payments of the no much money. So this is a lot of money, a lot of movies. A thousand of more movies in streaming every day, and it's a ¿cómo se dice Andrés burbuja in English?
A bubble.
Yeah, it's a bubble and explodes. So it's very difficult to make movies for that. I love theaters. You know, theaters release.
It's hard, but it's hard to stand out when there are thousands of movies made every year.
Yeah, you play Netflix or Amazon and you use the mouse and a thousand of movies. You have no time to watching all the movies. It's very difficult. So it's very hard to compete with other people.
Do you think the pandemic made things worse?
Yes.
Like people stopped going to the theater.
Yeah.
You know, for 2 years, 3 years. I'm not sure people are even going back now to the movie theaters. They're beginning to, but
I hope this year. The thing is most good. You know, all the movies released this year is a big blockbuster movies, and obviously, I hope the people to go back to the theaters.
Yeah. It's
changed. Watch Silent Lot movie. Watch Silent Lot in the theaters.
I'm sorry,
in
what?
fact, you can invite, Ruben is right. You can invite the people now that we got time to watch Silent Lot movie. We need people going back to the theater, so what better with Silent Lot? So go ahead, Master.
Salem's Lot is going to open in the movie theaters. I have another horror movie called She Came from the Woods that I did last summer, that just opened. I think it's in the theaters now, in a few theaters. I'm sure it'll end up on Netflix or Prime or Amazon or someplace, you know. But yeah, I have an HBO miniseries that I just did called Full Circle with Steven Soderbergh directing. And that was wonderful. I did that last fall. So I have all this stuff waiting to come out now. I thought, so I guess I'm not retired. I'm still working.
That's great to know. That's great to know.
That's a good thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's great to know that you came back to HBO. I mean, you appear on The Pacific, one of the best series on
There you
history,
go.
and HBO. Yeah.
I know. I've been. Yeah. That was great. That was amazing. That was. We went to Australia and we went through boot camp and tried to tell the story of World War II, the Pacific Theater. Band of Brothers was the war in Europe, and the Pacific was the Pacific Theater. And my dad was in the Pacific. My dad was my uncles. He was in the Philippines in the army, and had done these assault landings and fought the Japanese, and was wounded twice, and amazing. I was very glad that when we finished making it, that guys who were there, who were still alive at the time, said that's what it felt like. That's what we had done on film felt like what they saw. And it's a hard thing to do in war movies. It's not John Wayne taking Iwo Jima. It's not Hollywood had kind of glossed it up for years and years and years. And the idea behind the Pacific was, what was it really like? It wasn't this gloss. It wasn't this Hollywood version. It was much more like what it was actually like. So I was proud of that. Chesty Puller, I played. My uncle knew Chesty Puller too. My uncle Jack was an intelligence officer with Admiral Nimitz at Guadalcanal, and Chesty fought on Guadalcanal. So they used to play cards together. They were friends. Anyway, it was a good project. It was important, I think, for a lot of reasons, that we tell that story well. Go ahead.
Jhon.
On how to let you know I'm finished.
Yeah, everyone loves the good movies or entertainment movies, but the movies or the projects about the life, about the important things, this is the best movies. It's not like all of Godzilla movie. No, this is a important thing. This is movies about the good things and important things in the life, like this TV show. I'm from Spain. I don't live in Spain. Don't live the Second War. We have
Right.
the Civil War in Spain. So, but only know about the movies, about these movies. From in my country. So, but always watching this kind Hollywood style movies. For all the audience. For the kids. So this show was terrified. For me, I watched this show and it looks like real, and what's the maybe the best horror TV show ever made. So this a kind of thing, so a kind of project to make you think your mind. So I love this TV show. This
historic.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think we've become people who our history. These are our stories. This is how we tell our stories. People write books, but I think less and less people depend on. That's how stories used to get told. Now I think movies movies reach more people, and those are the stories we tell ourselves. That's how we share our history with each other. So I'm glad, that particular one. I did a mini series with Ava DuVernay called When They See Us. That was about the Central Park Five. These 5 young men who were arrested in Central Park, New York, for an assault, a murder, a beating rather, that they didn't do. They were completely innocent, and they were just ramrodded through by the authorities, and they were saying they should be executed, and yeah. And then it turns out they're completely exonerated. They had nothing to do with it, and it's but their lives were upended. They spent time in prison. They were, and that was a story that needed to be told. It's good that we tell these stories. We need to hear these things as a people, as a race of humans. I think it makes us. I think that's how we move forward as a race. You stop making up bedtime stories about how everything's okay and we don't. Well, we're all good and no one ever got hurt and so on and so on. You can't fix something unless you can look at it and see what's broken about it. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just to see what's broken about it. And fixing it has already begun to happen, because now you recognize the problem. That's my opinion. Anyway, sometimes movies are just for fun, and sometimes I think they serve a bigger purpose. I think they.
I always say, when I start to make a movie or short films, I always say to the crew, all the stories must be entertaining. If you make a drama about a person with a terminal disease, this story it's important to make it entertaining. It's entertaining too. So, but it sometimes occurs that it's just entertaining or just drama, and I always say, why no the two of
together?
Yeah, it's not only action movies or whatever sci-fi movies. I always write a deep story of the characters, and if it's a horror movie, or a scene or a killer with a machete, it's important to make this background and the story and the characters. So I sometimes find other people to tell me, no, the horror movie is some simple movie, a girl scream and run and the killer, and I say no, it's important to create. Now these movies like Unholy or other movies in the present, or horror movies, was a very deep, this movie. So I love the horror movies of the present. It's not only horror or slashers, and I love these movies. So in the present,
that's good. There's more going on. There's yeah, I agree. You have to be entertaining. If part of you, otherwise no one's going to want to watch it. Otherwise, make a even a documentary. Yeah, no, I agree. And it's funny, even in the darkest movies, even in the most horrible movies, the best ones have humor. There are places where you let the audience laugh, Hitchcock does this all the time. All the time. There are things that he gets the audience frightened and lets them laugh and relax, and then he hits them again. And it becomes this ride, yeah, I love movies. I love everything about the craft, the art and the craft of making films, telling our stories. We're storytellers, so the best ones always have a smile here and there.
Qué tremendas respuestas. Yo otra vez otro aplauso que sí es algo muy bueno. Yo yes, Master.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Iba a preguntarle a Rubén y al maestro William. Rubén, ¿cuándo tienes al maestro actuando en sus películas? ¿Alguna vez? No sé, pero ahí te la dejo. William, ¿le gustaría actuar,
Rubén, puede
ser
estar
dirigido
feliz,
por
¿no?
Rubén? Pregúntale.
Y antes de decir, Rubén, puedes estar feliz. William te hizo preguntas, o sea, wow.
Exacto.
Traduce, Andrés, y luego digo.
Okay. Is Jhon telling to Ruben that when Ruben is going to hire you for a movie? I don't know, in Spain or any country Ruben is in,
Okay.
or in Mexico, Jhon.
I'm filming now in my last 2 movies filmed in Mexico, in Baja California. So I'm very close to USA. So the next year, maybe I can send you a script or a movie. So
Okay.
Yeah. And
Send me a script. That's good.
I love this line. Send me a script. Yeah.
Send me a script. That's it. That's how Shawshank started. Frank Darabont said, "I'm writing this thing," and I said, "Send me a script."
I love when I make a script and I write a character, things to an actor.
Yeah.
This is what, as a screenwriter, this is the best thing to make a script. This not this kind of think of you have a fright. You write a script thinking about this kind of actor or actress, and the producer say I go on the other actor.
We can't get Tom Hanks.
This is a very bad moment. It's the life of the movie, always.
What are you gonna? That's life. That's keep going. Keep telling your stories. Yeah. Find your own voice.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the secret is people that stick out, people that filmmakers who make an impact. They somehow find their own voice. They have a style, that's theirs. When they tell a story, it's like Quentin Tarantino or Spike Lee or Walter Hill or Spielberg. They have it isn't just the story that they're telling. They also have a style that we recognize, and we go, here we go. Here comes the ride.
The best advice I receive for the future. Yes, I love that. The I don't remember what is the line. The freedom. Andrés, no sé si está dicho así. The artistic freedom. The artistic freedom is all the thing that all the filmmakers looking for, the artistic freedom. I write the script, I make this script exactly like I write, and don't interfere of the producer and this is the on my own voice, and it's in the script, but always the people to put the money is are the boss. So
before you start hearing people say, "No, we can't do that. Can't do that. No. That's too much money."
I always put my own money in my movies precisely for that. I have voice in the movie. I put my own movie. I wanted to this actor, this actress on this location, and thanks to that, the people hear me. So, but the money is lost, so I have no money right now. So, okay.
You know, it's one of the best. You know who Robert Rodriguez is, right?
Yeah, I love that.
He's for his early movie.
You made Road Racer with him.
What did he make it for? $5,000 or something? It isn't.
That,
sometimes it's not sometimes it's not how much money you have.
Yeah.
It's the, you know, he had to be clever. He couldn't he couldn't spend all the money in the world to make that movie. He had to find a way to tell the story without all of that money. And it ended up, and it was, I spoke to him once about, he said, he would shoot what is it? El Mariachi. He would shoot the two actors talking, and then without sound, and then go back and record the sound, have the actors do the scene again, and just record the sound. And then he would try to sync it up, right, with the picture. But of course, it didn't sync well, right? He could only stay on this actor for a few seconds before it got out of sync. He'd have to cut and go to the other actor listening. Terrific. His editing style, this creative editing style, was so imaginative and so exciting and so on. And it was, he couldn't just let the film play. You know, he couldn't let the scene talk. He had to cut. He had to jump in and cut because he couldn't record the sound at the same time. You know, he didn't have the money.
I know this feeling. You know, right now we have a digital camera. You know, in these times, is very very hard to make movies. You know, now you have buy a 4K camera for $100. You know, so I remember I make a movie in 7 days, and all the people say me it's impossible. You never make a movie in 7 days, and we make a movie in 7 days, and the movie works. You know, it's that without money, without no time. But I love this challenge. You know, when maybe I don't know, but when you have all the money of the world, it's a lot of problems, and when you have no money,
you see that over and over again too. People they have all the money in the world, and they put this movie star and this movie star, and they travel all over the globe, and you can tell they spent millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's not, that doesn't necessarily give you a good movie. You know, sometimes it's there's more heart, or more there's more power, more punch in something that was it was made for $1.98 because that's all we had. You know, yeah, I see that all the time. You see that all the time. The movies come and go, and it's one of my favorite games is to sit there and say, well, why didn't that work? They got this actor and this actress and this camera guy and this, you know, they spent $4 billion on costumes. Why don't I care? I watched the movie and I go, you know, what did they leave out?
And I remember that
it's a fascinating
yes,
game.
and as an actor, I think it's very difficult, very hard to make this kind of movies. You know, you have go to the set one day, and you waiting for 10 hours, and to the set and film it 1 minute and go to the home. You know, in this kind of movie with a chroma, with a green screen, and this is very boring. I think make this movie.
It's hard. I think well, maybe Die Hard 2 was the first really big budget movie that I did. It was, I think, $60 million or something like that. And it went over budget. But that was it's easy to get, you know, the special effects and there are trucks. There's a whole circus. There's a whole city of people, costume trucks and caterers and on and on and on. And at the end, it finally dawned on me as an actor, the only part of this that I'm responsible for is from when they yell action to cut. Those 30 seconds or minute and a half or whatever it is, if I don't, that's the only thing I have to get right. And if I don't get it right, all the rest of this won't save us. All the rest, how much they spent on catering and how much they spent on costumes and none of the rest of that will make this a great movie. The writing has to be there and the performances have to be there. It's that little moment between action and cut. The rest of it is other people. You have to shut it, as an actor anyway, you have to shut out all the rest of that noise. But it made it easier. I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about, all the rest of this crap. That's for other people. This is my job, and you have to hit it. That's all. And if you don't, all the rest of that stuff is not going to matter. It's not going to save you. Does that sound? That sounds pretty egotistical, but I think it's true. At the end of the day, the amount of honesty and humanity you can bring to that 30 seconds or minute and a half or 2 minutes. That's what ends up on the screen. That's what ends up speaking to the audience. And all the money that you've thrown at it, it won't help. It won't save you if that stuff isn't there.
Thank you, Master.
You're welcome.
Por último, redes sociales, un saludo para Colombia.
As a
Colombia.
final. Yes,
Yes.
send a big hi to the channel, to Colombia, to wherever you want, to Mexico, to Spain, and tell your social media so people can follow you. Go ahead.
You can follow me on Facebook, William Sadler. Yeah, look for me on Facebook. I have a Facebook board called The Billboard. I have music. I write songs and I sing them and I play. And I've got an album. I'm working on releasing an album of music. So
I know
yeah.
I know we got a small time, but it's great that you mentioned that because I saw an interview in Loudwire. You even love rock and metal, and that's great.
Yes. You can actually look up William Sadler on
Spotify?
On YouTube. The kitchen tapes, William Sadler, the kitchen tapes, because I did them in the kitchen, and they're all during the pandemic. I started making music and putting it out there and getting together with other musicians. It's just something to do. I've always loved music. I think there's a power in that as well, that doesn't require orchestras and you don't need fireworks and orchestras and brass bands, and sometimes it's just the message. Sometimes it's more powerful if it's just you put it in a song and you just say it in a simple way. Hello, Colombia. Hello, Spain. It's beautiful to be able to talk to you. Thank you so much. Stay healthy and stay well and go to the movies.
I watch you this year in the theaters. Silent
Yes.
Slot.
Silent Slot, yes.
Gracias. So much.
Gracias.
De nada.
Gracias, Master. God bless you.
Gracias.
God will. Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
forever.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
forever.